What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Video Homicide, and today we're going to be taking a look at a film that I've been wanting to watch for years. It's from 1974, written, directed, produced, and starring Duke Mitchell. We're talking about Massacre, Mafia style, also known as The Executioner or Like Father, Like Son. So this movie I've been wanting to watch for years. I don't remember where I first heard about this film, but I'm pretty sure I either seen the trailer or someone mention it on YouTube, and it's always been on the back burner for me, so I never got a chance to watch it up until the other day. I'm at my mom's place, of all places, and she's got Tubi, and I mean everyone has Tubi, but she's got like this TV that's like a smart TV, so it has Tubi, Amazon, like all that kind of shit, and I'm on the Tubi, and I see Massacre Mafia style. I'm like, no way, 122 minutes? I'm like, or an hour and a half, let's watch this. So I throw it on, and immediately I fell in love with this movie. It starts off with these two mobsters walking into this like office building and just, going to see this one guy who's in a wheelchair, and they just start blowing the fucking shit out of everyone. They're shooting everyone, shooting women, shooting fucking all the staff, everybody. And there's a scene where they walk into this elevator and this like little boy walks in, and you're like, oh my god, they're gonna kill this little kid. And they just like look at him and like do like that sort of like old like European thing where they like grab the face and like give him a little smack on the face, like all that kind of stuff, and then they just leave. And I'm like, this little kid's probably going up there to bring his dad lunch, and he's gonna find him laid out on the fucking ground. Like, I thought it was really cool, a little cool opening. And then you find out that is actually an event in the film, or a scene in the film that takes place later on in the story. So it starts off with the main guy, who's the director. He goes by the name Mimi in the film, and his father's the mafia don in New York, and he's like, I want to leave here. I'm going to go to Los Angeles. I'm going to start like, I'm going to make my money that way and all this kind of stuff. So he goes to Los Angeles, and he's on the hunt for his old buddy known as Jolly. And he's like, it's cool because he's got a lot of narration in this film, and it explains everything nicely. Everything's tied up like nicely with a knot, Like there's no real wasted time in this film. So he's on the lookout for his buddy, and he eventually comes across this seedy little bar, and he finds his buddy, and they have like this handshake that they remember from when they were kids. And Mimi, he's like, I need you to come with me. We're gonna do some crazy shit. We're gonna make some money. And Jolly's like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I don't want to be a bartender. So now they're like partners in crime, and they're going around and they're doing this and that. And there's this mafia boss guy that's out in California, and they kidnap him, and they cut his finger off, and they send the finger to like the family, like the heads of the families. And they're like, what are we going to do? We got to pay this 250 grand. What are we going to do? So they end up paying it. And now Mimi and Jolly like show up at this guy at the they cut the guy's finger off, and then they show up at the guy's son's wedding, and the mafia boss is like, fuck, those are the guys that stole me and cut my finger off. And they just kind of like welcome themselves into this crew, and now they're like a part of this crew. And no one really likes it. You can tell everyone's kind of a little bit sour about it, but no one says anything directly to Mimi and Jolly. And it's basically, that's where they're at. They're in California, and they just muscle their way into this mafia, and now they're making money and doing this and that. They're taking over all the pimp businesses, all the bookmaking. So everyone that's making money in this certain section of town, like, they want the money, and they're bullying the pimps off. And like, it's a very racist movie as well. Like, there's a lot of racial words used throughout the film, but it's from 1974, and when you put that into perspective, like, that is the lingo that they used back then, and no one can really deny that. So, and it was coming from both ways, But you get a lot of really good violence in this film. Like, for instance, there's like the shootout right at the beginning of the film. Like, that's amazing. I thought it was so awesome. Like, seeing all these people get these bullet hits, like total 1970s blood with like that really red blood, like. Someone gets shot in the back, and they're wearing a black jacket, and you can like see perfectly like the red blood just spurting out of his jacket. I love that. I've said it a million times. 70s blood looks the best. To me, it's like red like paint. It's there. It's not like like this really black dark stuff or this kind of like almost purpley shit. Like, no, it's fucking red, and it's blood. Like, it's blood. So I liken it to this. Like, if you're a little kid and you're watching a movie and someone gets shot and you see that red blood, you're like, there's no denial, I'm really into that stuff for some reason. But another little kind of fun little quirky thing about this movie is Jolly he's like this bigger dude, and he's got like this little tiny dog, and he's obsessed with the dog, and the whole, and like they mention the dog like twice, and by the second time they mention the dog, I kind of knew something horrible was going to happen to this dog, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But again, during all this like crazy, what I would call like just circumstances, like one thing leads to another in this film, and Mimi and Jolly, they start like producing porno movies, and like there's this really fucking hilarious scene where they're on this boat and they're like watching like this lesbian porno film be made, and the one girl's like, I've never seen that position, and Mimi's like, he's like, what are you worried about? We'll try later, or something. Like it's so like, man, it just, for part of me, when I was watching this movie, I was like, fuck, this doesn't seem like 74, like this seems a little bit later, but no, it's 74, like the same year as Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I would double feature both those movies, and I think you'd have a great time. But of course, all good things come to an end, all right? And Mimi and Jolly, they end up, stepping on toes too much, and then it gets to the point where like Mimi and Jolly kill everybody that's like, because a hit gets put out on them, and they just kill everyone except for a few people, and they find out that it was this, the guy they cut the finger off, his son, who they were at their wedding. Jolly and Mimi went to that kid's wedding, and he had put this hit out on Mimi and Jolly. So they go to this like meat market place or butcher shop kind of thing, and they kill everyone there, and then they take the one guy who's like sort of like a lieutenant or like a capo in the mob, and they hang him on a meat hook like through the eye, and it's fucking awesome. And one of the crazy things is they hold the shot on the eye for so long, and even my mom was like, Jesus Christ, she's like, are they gonna show it long enough? And I'm like, fuck, this is great. I'm like, that's an awesome shot. Like that shot alone, like that little scene alone, I think was worth it. And right as Mimi and Jolly are leaving this meat market, Marco, the kid, the son of the mob boss, comes along, and he acts all like cool. He's like, hey Mimi, hey Jolly, where's Jimmy or whatever? And he's like, hey, he's hanging around inside. And he's literally hanging through a meat hook through his eye. And the kid's like, where? And he's like, up your father's ass. And he's like, get in the car. And they get this kid in the car, and then they kill him, and they drop him off at the father's house. And then the father's like, you know what? We tried it your way, or we tried it Mimi's father's way. Now they're going to try it his way. And fucking, they put the work out, and they start really wanting to kill Mimi and Jolly, like no fucking around. So you got a scene where Jolly is like at the restaurant that they're always hanging out at, and these guys come in, and they have like wine and food and all that, and of course the food has like a big kind of, what would you call it, like a covering, like when you go to like a fancy restaurant. I've never seen it personally, but like a covering over the food, like a metal covering comes out, and it was a big covering, and I'm like, oh my god, here we go, it's the fucking dog. Sure shit, it's the dog. So the last thing Jolly sees is this dog that he loves so much, and then they just shoot him right in the fucking head, and boom, he dies like right on top of his dead dog. Like it's a pretty brutal film. And Mimi, who's been living with this woman that he met, like he kind of just randomly met her at this wedding, and just kind of was like, I'm gonna live with you now, and they like fall in love, of course. And she had always complained, like, something's gonna happen, and I'm with you, so that's gonna happen to me too. And they have this saying in the film. Mimi always says, like, you're in or you're in the way, and I thought that was a really good saying. So Mimi shows up at his apartment with the girl, like shows up to the girl's apartment, and there's Jolly dead on the bed, and then there's his girl dead in the shower, and he's very emotional about it, and then he fucks off back to New York. And once he gets back to New York, he's greeted by his father, by his son. They have like good times together for a little bit. And I almost forgot to mention, throughout the film, I don't know if this is a real tradition or what, but it's an Italian tradition, as far as I know, where they have a loaf of bread. The son cuts the loaf of bread and gives the first piece to the father. And there's like money stuffed in the rest of the loaf, and like different things like that. So at the end of the film, like the guy cuts the bread, throws it to the grandfather, and then throws a piece to Mimi. And then as he's throwing the piece to Mimi, the son just has a shotgun in this loaf of bread and just shoots Mimi. And it's a fucking cool way to end the film, because for a minute there, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like no way, like Mimi's just gonna get away with all this shit. Like it blew me away. And no, he got his comeuppance, and man, I loved it. Massacre Mafia style is a great film, and I would highly recommend everybody checking it out. I'm sure like Radioactive Blob Fuel has seen it. I'm sure Trash Dash has seen it. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out because it's so fun. It's on Tubi, free. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. So leave a 666 in the comments if you watched this video all the way through. And with that being said, adios.